An 18-year-old youth kills another in the street with a single knife stab. His starting point for sentencing, 25 years.
A husband stabs his wife in the home over 70 times, decapitates her, dismembers her body, dumps her body and refuses to tell the police where it is. His starting point for sentencing is just 15 years.
It's predominantly women that are killed in the home, most commonly through strangulation or a knife that is found in the kitchen or the home.
Strangulation is intimate and prolonged.
The perpetrator looks into the eyes of the victims, watches them struggle
until they take their last breath.
My daughter was strangled in the home, and then the perpetrator stabbed her multiple times in the neck. His starting point for sentencing was just 12.5 years.
My daughter was killed in her flat, a place that should have been safe for her. She suffered over 100 injuries. The starting tariff for her murderer, just 15 years.
My daughter was strangled by him using his bare hands. She was almost decapitated and then he dumped her in the field. His starting point was 15 years.
These men are more dangerous than the youth who stabbed somebody once in the park. So why are their sentences 10 years less?
These horrific murders are not being treated with the seriousness they deserve.
Justice is not being served. These men are not being taken off our streets for long enough.
The punishment is not fitting a crime when it comes to domestic homicides, and the sentences are an insult to our killed women.
We want these dangerous men locked up for longer to prevent future female victims.
3 women a week are killed by men. A government that's sincere about protecting women from violence would level up this disparity in sentencing immediately.
Stop diminishing women's lives. Level up sentencing now. Enough is enough.
We demand a 25-year starting point for all murders, regardless of whether the weapon was already at the scene of the crime or whether hands were used in strangulation.
Our daughters' lives,
your daughters' lives,
are not worth 10 years less just because the weapon was found at the scene.
This current law must be changed.
How can someone who can inflict so many violent, ferocious injuries be judged as less dangerous than a stranger who stabs somebody once in the park?
Just because the weapon was already at the scene.
Please change the law
to protect our daughters,
mothers,
sisters
and friends from these dangerous men.
The government are considering changing the law for murder.
This is our response.
This is what we want.
This is the change that's needed.